again, was close to the ground, very large, and it looked like a pine cone, kind of, more like a pine cone that hadn't opened up totally yet, and it had like a copper metal sheen to it. That too hovered, fairly close to the ground, and I haven't ever seen anything else like that. And both of these were like one of a kind things that we have not seen again. There was one that was V-shaped and again close to the ground, and it looked like one of those cheap nutcrackers, just the V-shaped ones that you just kind of squeeze like like a pliers, and there it was floating in the sky. So these are all very puzzling type of things. And let's see if I can give you an idea. If somebody wants to look at some of these themselves, just jot down that they can go to skyshipsovercaches.com, and in the photo section in the archives for 2015, there's a number of these very unique UFOs that, for some reason, 2015 was a very active year for these very unusual sightings.
Well, it seems like this year has really gotten active from all the, people messaging me. I know that the UFO Reporting Center with Davenport is claiming that he's getting more reports than years now coming in all over the country of UFOs. And it seems like people are claiming that they're being abducted. I get a lot of people saying they're being abducted and seeing UFOs more than I ever have in all the years I've been in broadcasting. But you want to check out her website. It's skyshipsovercaches.com. I mean, it covers everything from UFOs to Bigfoot, cryptids, earth changes. You want to check out her website. This website is so detailed. You could be there for a weekend and still not read everything that's in this website.
And a lot of the things in the archives will be new to most people.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, if anybody's taking notes, what I've been talking about with the apparitions and the very unusual UFOs that were near the ground, they can see photos in the Skyship photo section, which is listed on the home page. And again, go to the archives of 2015 and just scroll through that section. Another part that they might want to check out is our Cosmic Miracle section, and specifically, I would recommend the archives for 2013. That was the year we were contacted by a man from the Netherlands, and what he had done was he took NASA photos, which, anybody who was at the right time at the right place on the internet could have gotten it, and then he took those and he used a system with his computers of clearing up the debris so that the details would show up. And he sent us photos of these humongous UFOs that are occasionally caught by NASA's SOHO cameras. And they're phenomenal. They're huge. Many of them are larger than Jupiter, which is our largest planet. And they clearly would dwarf any of the planets that circle the sun. You would think that most of them would be like typical solid shapes like we see in most UFO photos, but some of these are very strange shapes. There's one that kind of makes you think of a very mechanical-looking silver flute or, some kind of an instrument, but it has a lot of different dimensions to it. There's, I'm trying to remember some of the things that he had. One looks like a Flying Phoenix hotel. If anybody knows what the Flying Phoenix looks like, well, it's that shape, but it's in a structure like it could be a hotel. There's cube-shaped UFOs that we've gotten pictures of that are posted there. So those are two things that are on the website that people might enjoy taking a look at.
Have you noticed a major increase of reports on UFOs here this year?
It's always stayed pretty steady here. Like I said, we have these episodes where things become very, very intense. But no, I think it's stayed steady ever since we started the website.
Well,
What I have gotten more of is I've gotten increasing reports of Bigfoot. And that, too, can be tied in with the UFOs, because the same places where we're getting UFO reports, we also get Bigfoot reports. And there's a great deal of debate about the connection, but whatever it is, they're appearing quite often in the same areas.
Very interesting.
I've heard different theories. Some people say that the Bigfoot are actually, like, some of them are cloned robotic creatures that are used by either our government or by the aliens to do work on the ground for them, and may indeed be doing some of these things that are scaring people. Most of the real Bigfoot, for the most part, they don't want to bother with us. They don't want to hurt us. They don't want to do any of that type of thing. Usually the people that get in trouble with Bigfoot are those who are trying to hunt them or are hunting down the prey that they were trying to hunt for their food source. But I hear lots and lots of very good stories about Bigfoot.
Now, don't you have a major military underground base in your state?
Yeah, well, I've written about it. There's 5 underground secret military bases here in North Carolina. And that book is, let's see, I can't even remember my own book titles, Underground Military Bases Hidden in North Carolina Mountains. So that's another thing that's in the same area. So we have Bigfoot, we have UFOs, we have underground bases, and Cherokee Little People, all in this same area.
Now, another question I'm going to have you, and it's off a little bit, but I was told around those military bases in the forest around there that there's been a sighting of UN troops. Is that true? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, when I first moved to North Carolina, which is getting to be a long time now, I moved here in '98. Before we ever even contemplated doing the website. And I quickly learned from people who, spent time out in the woods, either on the vehicle trails or hunters, that they would see military people seeming to practice in the forest around here, and they often describe them as being Russians or Germans or Poles or or the UN. That continues. One of the stories that's in my book about the underground bases, our main witness is a military person who was in an aspect of the government or the military that was really tracking other aspects of the military, and they were monitoring Mount Mitchell, which is the tallest mountain east of the Mississippi, because there is a facility beneath that. And they were watching UN troops come out of a entrance from the ground. And the man said after the entrance was closed, you couldn't even tell it was there. And we hear reports like that a lot. There's been reports of a place called Linville Gorge, and we've gotten reports of somebody seeing the entrance open, and then when it was closed, you could not tell it was there.
Oh.
So they're pretty slick about hiding these things.
Yeah, I think, didn't we talk one time, too, that one of the bases it looked like they were expanding?
Actually, real recently, and I don't think we've talked about this, one of the oldest underground facilities, maybe the oldest, is under the Pisgah Astronomical Research Institute. We simply refer to it as Perry. Perry, before that, was a Department of Defense facility during the Cold War, and there is a 6-story deep underground city-sized facility beneath that. I suspect that that's not the only way that they enter into it anymore. I'm sure there is more than one entrance. But there has been new activity, and I got a call from somebody who lives in the town closest to this Perry facility, and he said there were underground explosions and different kinds of sounds and rumblings, and he said there was new underground digging there. Well, I went and took that piece of information and got Google Earth out and started searching the facility and found a large hole in the ground. Most of it was covered over by two large tarps, but you could see that it was dark between the tarps and apparently went down. I saw long bed dump trucks. I saw excavators. And then you could see where it looked like they were taking the dirt from the hole and then spreading out over the hill that was close to it. What was interesting was that this dirt that was being spread was very light colored. So the next piece of detective work I did was contact one of the state websites and got a photo of a cross-section of the soil in that area. And the topsoil is dark, and as you go down deeper, it gets lighter. So that indicates that whatever was being dug was done at a deeper level.
Interesting. Now, another thing, too, isn't there been reports of alien contact or working with the government on one of those bases? I know there's rumors about it.
There is a great deal of evidence that they're working in, conjunction. There is a place beneath something called Sugarloaf Mountain, and they've seen UFOs hovering over the top of the mountain where the entrance to this place is. At the Perry facility, there's been many reports and sightings of UFOs around that. One man for a while was reporting his sightings to me, but what was happening was the more he talked about it, every time his computer would be not only shut down but busted up, and it just got too expensive. So he went on the QT after that and isn't reporting those anymore. And, most of us can't afford to keep replacing our computers.
No, you can't. Now, James out here, Krishbaum, says that asking a question, doesn't a lot of people go missing around the mountains in that area?
There's reports of people disappearing in the national forests around the country. We certainly have national forests here, and there's reports of that kind. I don't think anybody with true confidence can say why it is happening. And just to mess with everybody's mind, I can give you another possible answer. There is a man who, again, had top security clearance with the military, who lives on land that his family has owned for generations. And there are little people living on his land. When he contacted me, I wasn't sure I was going to, buy into what he was saying, but he sounded so sincere. And Evelyn Gordon, who also works with me on this website, she and I went to his property in eastern Tennessee, and, he showed us a great deal of things that made it all look quite convincing, and, there's many stories about that. But he is able to communicate with the little people, and the little people are very, very afraid of a particular kind of ETs. They call them the dominators, and the little people say that they regard the earth as a farm and a food supply, and that they like to eat people, especially young, tender ones, just like I guess human beings like to eat veal over regular beef. And if there's truth to that, I don't know, but it certainly presents another possibility that I don't think hardly anybody has considered. But something indeed is going on. People are indeed disappearing.
Yeah.
Oh, and another theory is, and this is more with street people that are, suddenly removed. There are stories that they're being experimented on. So that's another possibility. I think some people have blamed the Bigfoot, but we've been getting reports of Bigfoot for a number of years now. I really don't think that's very likely. There may be a few rogue Bigfoot that might do that, but that is not a standard MO for a Bigfoot.
Well, I know from my experience the Bigfoot, I had one chase me, but if it wanted to catch me and my friend, it would have. and I wouldn't
Right.
be talking to you right now. So, I mean, if it wanted to kill us, it did a good job scaring us off.
Oh, they'll
And-
scare you if you're getting too close to their young ones or getting too close to what they're trying